We're not able to comment on this. So, Shannon, what are your final thoughts on what happened?
I don't even, Skip, I don't really know what the blow-up was about with Bubba Wallace because, first of all, Bubba Wallace did not report it. Bubba Wallace didn't see it. Now, he might have saw a picture of it, but it was before he got there. He was notified. He was briefed of what transpired. So everybody's trying to make Bubba Wallace out to be Jesse Smollett is gravely, sadly mistaken. Skip, it was a noose. Now, NASCAR didn't need the FBI to come in to tell them what it was. It was a noose. Skip, and people like, well, yes, it was a noose. Skip, if I kill a fly with my shoe is not a fly swatter. It's still a shoe. I just used it for something different. That is a noose that they use for a garage pool. Now, you bring the FBI in and see, okay, did someone put this there trying to intimidate Bubba Wallace? Who did it? That's what you're trying. That's why you bring the FBI in. You didn't need the FBI to tell you what it was. Hell, you're looking at it. Look up. I tell you what, go to any page and see noose and see what it does. It look like what was hanging in Bubba Wallace's garage. Now, think about it, Skip, of all the tracks, all the garages, if there's 43 cars, 45 cars on a given Sunday running, each one of them have their own garage. As many tracks as they have, I think it's over 1,600. Only one, they had a noose. Now, 11 still use the rope pull. Skip, I grew up been in garages, grew up on a farm. Now, normally when you have a pull that you're gonna pull it down, what Mr. Joe would use what we call a ball knot. He would fix it so it was like a ball. You just grab it and pull it down.
Got it.
Or they would just try just a common knot. So you just grab it and pull it. I've never seen one fashion like a noose because a noose is what it is. It's a noose. Why you put it there or why they used it doesn't change what it was. Because they use it as a garage door pull does not change the meaning of what it is. It is still a noose. And for people to be, and think about what transpired, Skip, and that's what was leading up to this. All of a sudden, NASCAR says Black Lives Matter. They're doing away with the Confederate flag. And now, on the very same day, you got people still outside of the track with those Confederate flags. You got the plane flying over with the Confederate flag saying defund NASCAR. So NASCAR acted, I believe, appropriate.
Yep.
They had to take these steps. And so, Skip, I have no problem with the way Bubba Wallace handled it. I have no problem with the way NASCAR handled it because I think they handled it the only way they could. But it just goes to show you, Skip, this is a Southern sport. Yeah, they come out to California and they race in Vegas and they go upstate New York to Watkins Glen. But if you look at it, you go Talladega and you go Daytona and you go Richmond and you go Hampton and Atlanta, Georgia. Skip, this is a Southern sport. And that Confederate flag has been a part, it's been ingrained, embedded in NASCAR since NASCAR has come to be. So people are going to resist this now. They're going to fight. Now, I'm glad, but I got a bigger question, Skip. It's been there since October. And nobody thought, like, damn, they got a noose. That's a garage for it. And nobody thought anything about that. That goes to show you how ingrained and how commonplace things of that nature would be.
How insensitive they are to that.
That ain't nothing but no garage pool. That's all it is. Come on, Skip, really? So I have no problem with the way NASCAR handled it, and I think Bubba Wallace handled it accordingly.
Okay. So I echo your sentiments about NASCAR. The new NASCAR got out ahead of this story in ways the old NASCAR never would have. The new NASCAR, led by Steve Phelps, did a lot of good to try to get to the bottom of it.
Right.
I'm just not sure we got to the very bottom of what was happening. So let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Let's say, per the FBI report, let's agree that this was hanging in that said garage since last October.
Right.
So here we come back to Talladega again. By the way, Talladega is in sort of the eastern side of Alabama, fairly near the Georgia state line. So it's in what we would call the deep south, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there are 40 drivers in the race, and there are 44 stalls in the garages in the infield. And usually it just goes by point standings or sort of money earned, but point standing.
Right.
How, preferred garages closer to entry point into the track.
Correct.
The better you are, the closer you get.
Right.
So usually it would sort of fall like that. With social distancing, they're trying to do it a little different way right now, so it gets a little more complicated how Bubba winds up in that garage. But remember, you have 44 possibilities.
Right.
And there's only one black driver in the whole sport. who races full time.
Correct.
Right? Help me out. What are the odds he winds up in the one stall that had a noose hanging in it since last October? Help me out. Is that just sheer, like 1,000,000,000 to 1 coincidence? It's not 1,000,000,000, but it'd be thousands to 1.
Bubba might need to play the lottery.
I would say. Don't you think?
Yes.
Or not play, like run from the lottery.
But
right?
here's the thing, though, Skip. If that was there, you don't think somebody in his garage would have just like taken it down before? So, man, this is not a good look. But it just like as we were talking about, Skip, it just goes to show you that that ain't nothing. They use that as a garage pool. It's a noose still. How they're using it, Skip. How you use something does not change the meaning of what that is.
So I loved it that the FBI did deep dive research and came back with that number that you just read, 1,684 garage areas across, 29 racetracks, right? And only 11 pulls, door
Use
pulls.
ropes.
Use rope, okay? And no, only 11 were tied with knots.
That's not.
They all have a rope, but only 11 had those kind of knots that you're talking about, like just kind of a ball knot, so that you can rest your fist on it, so you can get a little more leverage to pull the door down.
Yes.
Okay, we get that.
Yes.
Only one noose. And by the way, so the point is, the FBI, I needed one more level of research that we didn't get. Okay, so who's responsible? Who signed off on putting Bubba in that garage? And whose responsibility was it to have some idea of what was hanging in the garage to start with? I don't know. So I'm still a little bit in the dark about how did Bubba wind up in that garage? Somebody had to say, Bubba, you're assigned to that garage. And did somebody have any idea there was a noose hanging in that garage?
Well, Skip, it's hard for me to believe that they found that, race day? I mean, they had to be there on like a Thursday or Friday. They had to get there because they have to have stuff already in the garage. So for no one to I'm not saying they didn't notice it, Skip, but I believe because of NASCAR and the way it's done business for such a long time, this was just like, that's nothing.
Okay, now let's talk about